Hello, you magnificent being, and welcome to Goal Accomplishment Made Easy, the podcast that is dedicated to helping you achieve your goals no matter how big or small they may be. I'm your host, and together we will explore the strategies, tools, and mindsets that you need to turn your dreams into reality. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a student, or a working professional, this podcast will provide you with actionable insights and practical advice to help you succeed in your personal and professional life. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of goal accomplishment. Hello, my lovelies. Today's episode is going to be a bit different. Today's episode is personal. So, we're going to dive in, okay? The topic of this episode is finding hope in the darkest moments. A story of healing, resilience, and purpose. That's it. As always, of course, I am Harvard certified 2-time 30 under 30 honoree and Forbes Next 1000 nominated performance coach, author, CEO, creator of the Self-Help app and Goal Accomplishment Made Easy. # my name is Desiree, and today's a somber one, so buckle up, girl. All right, so # mini autobiography time. For me, I was sitting here reflecting because it's crazy to think that 36 months ago, I was ready to end it all. Yeah. I had faced a traumatic experience at my job, made the hardest decision to be vocal about it, regardless of the outcomes, and was laid off. And my relationship also ended a little while earlier, and that person had moved on with someone within our group. And I felt like I'd been cast aside and discarded in two important areas of my life, and going from maybe $2,100 take home a month to 0.00 take home a month, and having people distance themselves from me at my former job because of my decision to declare that I was willing to take my experience with them to the media if they didn't reprimand the other party involved accordingly. And sides were taken, voices were in whispers, and looks said a mouthful in both of those situations. And I just didn't want to be here anymore. And I drove home recklessly, not caring and actually hoping an 18-wheeler would just come along and wipe me out of existence. I wanted to go. And I was resolved in finding a way to do so that didn't take a long time and wouldn't hurt. And it's funny because when you're in that mode, you look at things differently, like incoming traffic or water, bridges, nature hikes with beautiful views and steep cliffs, your bottle of Advil used for cramps. Like, I was literally at a crossroads, do or die. And I had two thoughts. The first one was, you can die or make your life worth living. And the second was, why should they be the ones that get to stay while you go? So, I got to work. I went to therapy, and I told myself that I was going to go for every dream that I'd ever had. That was a promise I made to myself so that I wouldn't regress, So I said, before you end your life, go for every single dream you've ever had. So I said, screw them to my ex, and created the brand F My Ex. First started with writing a book, which was something I'd always wanted to do. And then I took that draft and actually decided I was going to publish it, and started using my savings, loans, unemployment, and COVID stimulus checks, # thank you for that, to help me hire someone that could actually help me publish it. And I did that of November that year. I think it was like 2020, 2021, something like that. I decided that even though the place that I worked technically did give me what I wanted by having that individual I wanted gone, no longer employed by them, that it wasn't enough. So I also, with my bold ass, took that individual to court, as if months of still having to see this person and go through this whole process of, are you going to let them go or not? And people talking and you deciding if you're going to be silenced or if you're going to fight for yourself and what's worth it and what's not worth it. And I was going through all that. I decided to take that person to court. Then around that time, I also found someone who taught people how to monetize their talents and get their businesses started from scratch the right way. And I started building a business with the same sources of income I used for my book, the unemployment and the savings and loans and COVID stimulus checks and all that good stuff. And I went back to school. And that book that I ended up publishing a few months later ended up being sold and shipped by Walmart, in addition to Barnes and Nobles and all those other places. But I was like, Walmart, I bitch done made it. Oh! And that court case I had, I won. And even though I went through it all by myself, it gave me a sense of pride, because when I was younger and similar things happened to me by adults I trusted, my parents weren't able to step in and win. I just had to deal with it. But an incident happened again when I was older at the job. And me winning that case felt the equivalent of me screaming the word no when my voice couldn't all the times before. So going to court and winning was my way of validating that what happened wasn't okay and I wasn't going to stand for it. Oh, child. All right. And by the time savings and loans, unemployment, and stimulus checks started to dwindle, I landed my third client. I did this because I knew that the quickest way to make income was to do the work that I'd already done, like the work that I've always done. And since life was transitioning to become virtual, I used that to my advantage to gain work. So while I had those 3 clients secured and taking care of my livelihood, I focused on what I really wanted to do, which was helping women like me still be able to win at life despite what's been thrown at them. So I kind of pivoted from the F my X stuff to my own personal brand and focused heavily on how to help women mitigate the challenges in their lives so that they can still produce and see results. And for dirt cheap, I started teaching other women about how to stay resilient so that they could hit their goals and land where they wanted to be in life, regardless of what life handed them. And I started getting press, and I got featured in Forbes magazine. And then I opened my second company and made it official. And now I had a boutique consulting firm designed to help provide everyday people with the tools and resources they need to enhance their personal and professional lives. Because I'd realized that goals and personal growth, like the importance of those 2 things, is what saved me. I'd always been an ambitious person, and I always knew that I was going to quote unquote be somebody, and I'd always envisioned myself quote unquote making it. But there was a crap ton of dissonance between who I was and who I wanted to be, and where I was and where I wanted to be. So it was like when I closed my eyes, I saw myself impacting the lives of millions of women. I saw women crying, thanking, and hugging me. But when I opened my eyes, I saw homelessness. I saw job loss. I saw sexual abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sleeping in a park, sleeping in a car under grocery store street lamps, sleeping on an air mattress on the floor, wanting to say no and to do what's best for me, no's that weren't respected, yeses that the universe apparently didn't give a damn about, and not having enough money to prevent car repossessions and pending evictions. Ultimately, the math wasn't mathing. And what I learned from that was that progression and hope help decrease the chances of you having suicidal ideation. And reduced suicidal ideation equals reduced suicidal intent. Reduced suicidal intent equals reduced suicide attempts. Reduced suicidal attempts equals reduced completed suicides. And that was the goal. I didn't want anyone else to suffer that way. And I didn't want anyone else to be numb, to have their eyes glossed over and not caring and being one thing away from saying F it and doing something irreversible in the moment. That's what I didn't want. So, because that's where I was at. And so, after I launched my second company, I created an app called the Self-Help app because I was really big on the importance of personal growth. Like, you have to build yourself to become the person required to get the job done. That's part of phase 1. #restore hope. When you feel like things can actually get better, you're more willing to stick around. So I created the Self-Help app to give people tools and resources to enhance their personal growth and development and be in a positive and motivating bubble. Phase 2 is progression. Once somebody actually feels that things can get better, now it's time for things to actually start getting better. That's when I launched Goal Accomplishment Made Easy. Since I had gotten to a place where I had built myself up in a way from my trauma and put systems in place that consistently helped me win, I realized I'd enter a different phase and needed to create something for people that had done their inner work as well and are now ready to make shit happen. So I felt like because I had some significant wins under my belt, was able to move someplace the younger me would fangirl over. Consistently had north of $7,000 coming in monthly. When the highest I'd ever brought home at a job was like $2,100, and I never had another job since I was laid off a couple years ago. And then my business grew to a point where I was able to bring on a team, and now, current day, I am avidly planning my escape to the West Coast and am buying my dream car in 10 minus 4 weeks, T minus 4 weeks, T minus 3, if you know what I'm saying. The universe want to make it do what it do, but T minus 4 weeks. And the point of me taking the time to basically write out a mini autobiography here is to help you see this. You have everything it takes to live the life that you envision. And you are worthy and more than capable of making it happen. What I want from you now is to, 1, if you know somebody that's going through a hard time, or you know someone that is in an upward battle, and you know they are doing the best they can, and they're trying to stay positive, and they are just trying to do all the things to just make something of themselves, and are just trying, send them this message. And then 2, I want you to send me a message in my chat box over at DesireeStapleton.com if this has helped you in any way. So, I'm not going to get misty-eyed, but I am. From one warrior to another, outlast all the obstacles. Be the last one standing. Thank you for tuning in to Goal Accomplishment Made Easy. Remember, achieving your goals doesn't have to be a solo journey. Don't forget to join our Goal Accomplishment Made Easy Facebook group to connect with like-minded individuals. Download the Self-Help app to access our resource portal and join our recurring support and accountability sessions to keep you on track towards reaching your goals. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep crushing those goals, you magnificent being.